Hello guys, welcome back to the Expensive Coins History channel. There is something deeply unsettling about the idea that a small, ordinary coin could quietly hold a life-changing secret. Most people walk past loose change every day without a second thought. Coins sit forgotten in drawers, buried in jars, lost in car cup holders, or passed between hands in silent transactions. They feel common, disposable, almost invisible. But what if one of those coins was never meant to be ordinary? What if, hidden among millions of identical pieces, a single Jefferson nickel carried a story so rare that collectors would pay tens of thousands just to hold it? This is not a fantasy. It is happening more often than people realize. Across the United States, collectors and dealers are quietly searching for specific coins that slipped into circulation decades ago. These coins were not supposed to be rare. They were minted in huge numbers. They were meant to be spent, forgotten, and replaced. Yet time has a strange way of turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. Small minting differences, overlooked errors, and survival against the odds have transformed certain Jefferson Nickels into objects of obsession. Among these hidden treasures, the 1990 Jefferson Nickel stands as one of the most fascinating examples. At first glance, it looks like every other 5-cent coin from the late 20th century. The familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson faces left, calm and dignified, a design Americans have known for generations. On the reverse, Monticello stands with quiet symmetry, the same building millions have seen countless times. Nothing about it screams rarity. Nothing about it suggests value. And that is precisely what makes this coin so dangerous to ignore. Because the truth is, the 1990 Jefferson Nickel was born in a time when coin production was fast, efficient, and massive. The Denver Mint struck millions upon millions of nickels that year, flooding the economy with fresh change. These coins moved quickly into circulation, passing through vending machines, gas stations, grocery stores, and wallets. They were handled roughly, stacked carelessly, and worn down by everyday life. For most coins, that would have been the end of the story. But not all coins share the same fate. Some survive in ways that defy probability. A few are preserved unknowingly, tucked away by people who never imagined their future value. Others slip through unnoticed, remaining in circulation but escaping heavy wear. And then there are the rare few that carry something more, a subtle distinction, a nearly invisible difference that transforms them from ordinary currency into collector gold. This is where the real intrigue begins, because collectors are not just looking for age. They are looking for perfection and anomalies. The 1990 nickel sits at a strange intersection of both. It is modern enough to feel common, yet old enough to have lost many pristine examples over time. That delicate balance creates tension in the collector market. When something is both recent and rare in top condition, demand can rise faster than most people expect. Think about it this way. Older coins are often rare because they survived decades or centuries. That makes sense. But a modern coin becoming rare? That creates a psychological shock. It forces collectors to rethink everything they believe about value. Suddenly, coins from the 1990s are no longer pocket change. They become time capsules, reminders that rarity is not just about age, but about survival and condition. And condition is where the 1990 Jefferson Nickel begins to reveal its true power. Coins that remained untouched by circulation, coins that were stored carefully, coins that somehow escaped the scratches, dents, and dullness of everyday use. Those are the ones that send ripples through the collecting world. When such a coin surfaces, it does not just attract attention. It triggers competition. Collectors are not casual buyers. Many of them are patient hunters who have spent decades studying small details that most people would never notice. They examine surfaces under magnification, searching for the faintest marks. They analyze luster, strike quality, and preservation. To the untrained eye, it might look obsessive. But to them, it is the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. And when a well-preserved 1990 nickel appears, something shifts. Conversations begin quietly. Dealers make calls. Auction houses take notice. Suddenly, a coin that once bought a piece of candy becomes the center of intense interest. That transformation feels almost unreal, especially for those who never imagined that modern coins could carry such weight. But the emotional pull of these coins goes deeper than money. For many collectors, coins are fragments of memory. They are physical links to decades past. Holding a nickel from 1990 can bring back an entire era, an age of analog phones, handwritten letters, and simpler routines. It reminds people of a time when the world felt slower, when change meant something you could hold in your hand. That emotional layer adds fuel to the market, because collectors are not just buying metal. They are buying moments, nostalgia, and history. And when nostalgia meets rarity, prices can climb far beyond expectations. The 1990 Jefferson Nickel sits right at that intersection, making it far more powerful than its small size suggests. There is also another factor that makes this coin especially compelling: disbelief. Many people still struggle to accept that a nickel from the 1990s could hold significant value. That disbelief creates opportunity. It allows rare examples to slip through unnoticed, hiding in plain sight. While collectors quietly search, millions of people unknowingly carry potential treasure in their pockets. Imagine the irony. A coin worth a fortune sitting inside a dusty coin jar on a shelf. A rare piece lying unnoticed in a toolbox. A valuable nickel passed from hand to hand in everyday transactions, its true identity hidden by familiarity. This is not a rare occurrence. It is happening right now in homes, garages, and drawers across the country. And that is what makes the story of the 1990 Jefferson Nickel so powerful. It challenges assumptions. It forces people to reconsider what they overlook daily. It reminds us that value does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes, it hides behind the most familiar objects, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. The coin world is filled with dramatic discoveries, but the most compelling ones are not always about ancient gold or centuries-old silver. Sometimes, the most shocking stories come from coins that feel almost modern. Coins that people remember using. Coins that still circulate quietly. Coins that blur the line between memory and money. That tension creates a unique thrill, because unlike ancient rarities locked away in museums, these coins might still be out there. They might still be found. And that possibility keeps collectors searching relentlessly. It fuels late-night coin roll hunts, careful inspections of change, and hours spent studying small details that most people would ignore. For seasoned collectors, the hunt itself becomes addictive. The idea that a life-changing discovery could happen at any moment is hard to resist. Every coin becomes a question. Every nickel becomes a possibility. And every overlooked piece becomes a silent gamble. But for those who are not collectors, this story carries a different kind of power. It serves as a wake-up call, a reminder that not everything valuable looks valuable at first glance. That sometimes the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is measured in millimeters and moments. The 1990 Jefferson Nickel stands as proof of that truth. A coin born in an era of mass production, now capable of commanding attention far beyond its humble origins. A coin that quietly crossed decades, surviving in ways no one predicted. A coin that continues to surprise even experienced collectors. And perhaps the most unsettling part of all is this: many of these coins are still unaccounted for. They have not all been found. They have not all been identified. Some are still hiding, waiting silently in the background of everyday life. Which raises a haunting question. How many valuable coins have already slipped through unnoticed? How many rare nickels have been spent without a second thought? And how many are still waiting to be discovered by someone willing to take a closer look? Because history has shown us something again and again. The greatest discoveries are rarely dramatic in the moment they happen. They begin quietly, a simple glance, a second look, a moment of curiosity, and then everything changes. The world of coin collecting is built on these moments. Moments where the ordinary reveals something extraordinary. Moments where a simple nickel becomes a story worth telling. Moments where the past suddenly feels alive in the palm of your hand. And the 1990 Jefferson Nickel carries exactly that kind of moment within it. A silent story, waiting to be uncovered by those who refuse to ignore the details. A reminder that sometimes the smallest objects carry the biggest surprises. If the 1990 nickel is a lesson in hidden modern rarity, The 1984 Jefferson Nickel is the embodiment of tension between commonality and value. On the surface, it appears unremarkable. A coin minted in Denver, standard 5-cent composition, circulating alongside millions of identical pieces. The same familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson, the same Monticello on the reverse. For decades, it lived quietly in wallets, drawers, and coin rolls. But beneath that ordinary exterior, it carries a story that can shake even seasoned collectors to their core. Because the 1984 Jefferson Nickel occupies a strange, almost paradoxical space in numismatics. It is old enough to have been handled roughly by thousands, even millions of hands, yet it is young enough that some specimens escape circulation in near-perfect condition. That duality creates a magnetic pull. It's the tension between chance and survival. Every coin that survived untouched became a rare gem, but most were never preserved. And the scarcity of pristine examples is what makes the 1984 nickel so compelling. Collectors who understand the significance of this coin know that it is more than metal. It is a time capsule. The year 1984 was not just any year. It was a time of transition in American society, a period of subtle shifts that would define decades. The Cold War lingered in the background. The economy was in flux, and everyday life was punctuated by analog routines. No smartphones, no online banking, just coins passing hand to hand as part of ordinary commerce. This coin carries the weight of that era, preserved in copper-nickel alloy. Holding it is like holding a fragment of 1984 itself. But history alone does not dictate value. It is the rare combination of survival, condition, and collector demand that elevates the 1984 nickel. Unlike older coins, where age is naturally a factor, this coin's allure comes from its scarcity in near-perfect state. Most of the millions minted that year have endured scratches, dings, and discoloration. Only a tiny fraction survived the decades untouched, maintaining the luster, the sharpness of strike, and the perfect symmetry of the design. These specimens are like small miracles, appearing against all odds. When such a coin appears in the market, the impact is immediate. Collectors spring into action, aware that opportunity is fleeting. Unlike other rarities, modern nickels are still familiar. Their design is recognizable, their appearance almost mundane. That familiarity often lulls casual observers into underestimating the coin's potential. But experienced collectors know better. They know that scarcity drives value, and the 1984 nickel is scarce in its finest form. Imagine walking into a coin shop and spotting a roll labeled 1984 D. Most would assume it is just a roll of common nickels, destined for everyday transactions. But a trained eye recognizes the possibilities. Each coin in that roll could be the extraordinary survivor, the one with perfect strike, unblemished surfaces, and vibrant luster. It's a moment of suspense that defines the collector experience, the thrill of potential discovery in a place others overlook. The emotional appeal of this coin is profound. Collectors are not merely buying a piece of currency, they are acquiring a piece of history, a tangible link to the past. Holding a well-preserved 1984 nickel allows them to connect to a moment in time. It evokes memories of early mornings with spare change in pocket, of vending machines and coin-operated devices, of the tactile experience of money before the digital era. These coins carry nostalgia that transcends their monetary value, giving collectors both emotional and financial reward. And yet, the market for the 1984 nickel is not purely sentimental. Its value is real, tangible, and significant. Pristine examples can command prices that surprise even casual observers. Dealers and collectors alike recognize that these coins are rare survivors, and rarity has always been a cornerstone of numismatic value. Unlike many modern coins, which are abundant and unremarkable, the 1984 nickel in exceptional condition offers a chance to acquire something truly extraordinary without venturing back a century or more. This dynamic makes the coin a symbol of hope for collectors. Unlike older rarities that require substantial capital to acquire, the 1984 nickel offers the possibility of high value for those who recognize it early. That potential fuels searches, drives auctions, and keeps coin enthusiasts vigilant. Every coin rolled, every jar emptied, and every pocket change examined becomes an opportunity to uncover a piece of history that others may overlook. But the story of the 1984 D nickel is also a story of timing. The window for discovery narrows each year. Coins that remain in circulation risk damage, loss, or disposal. Those preserved in pristine condition are finite, their numbers declining with each passing decade. The urgency adds intensity to the collector market. Awareness alone is not enough. Action must follow quickly. The moment a coin is identified, it often triggers competition. Dealers place offers, collectors bid aggressively, and prices climb rapidly. This reality underscores a broader truth about modern coin collecting. Value is not always obvious, but opportunity is fleeting. The 1984 D Jefferson Nickel exemplifies this principle perfectly. It looks ordinary, feels ordinary, yet beneath the surface it carries enormous potential. Its scarcity in top condition, combined with historical context and collector demand, transforms it into a coveted treasure. For many, the thrill of discovering such a coin is as much about personal satisfaction as financial gain. The moment a collector identifies a well-preserved 1984 D nickel, there is a profound sense of accomplishment. It validates years of study, patience, and meticulous attention to detail. It is a triumph of knowledge over chance, a reminder that diligence can uncover hidden gems where others see only ordinary currency. Collectors also understand the subtle artistry in these coins. Thomas Jefferson's portrait, the clean lines of Monticello, and the precise lettering are all elements that contribute to a coin's appeal. In pristine examples, these details remain crisp and sharp, capturing the original intent of the engravers. The difference between a worn coin and a well-preserved specimen is striking. It is the difference between a photograph fading with time and a painting maintained in perfect condition. This focus on detail is critical. While casual observers might overlook minor scratches or slight discoloration, collectors know that these factors drastically affect value. A coin with flawless surfaces, full luster, and a perfectly struck design is not just rare. It is exceptional. It stands apart from millions of similar pieces, commanding attention and driving prices into tens of thousands of dollars. In the case of the 1984 D Jefferson Nickel, that exceptional status has been confirmed repeatedly in the collector market. Auctions have shown that high-grade examples are sought after by serious buyers who understand their significance. The combination of modern rarity, historical context, and aesthetic perfection creates a potent mix, ensuring that these coins remain highly desirable. Perhaps most striking is the contrast between perception and reality. To the casual observer, the 1984 D nickel is just another 5-cent coin. It doesn't shine like gold, nor does it carry the aura of centuries-old silver. Its subtlety is precisely what makes it powerful. Hidden in plain sight, it rewards those who pay attention, study closely, and understand the language of coins. The unassuming exterior conceals immense value, both emotional and monetary. The narrative of the 1984 D nickel also reminds us that opportunity often lies where others fail to look. Millions of nickels have circulated and disappeared over the decades. Yet a select few remain, tucked away in coin rolls, jars, and collections. These survivors are symbols of luck, timing, and foresight. Every discovery is a moment of revelation, a reminder that the ordinary can hold the extraordinary. And while some collectors are motivated by nostalgia, others are drawn by financial potential. The 1984 D nickel has proven itself capable of delivering substantial returns for those who recognize its worth. The combination of rarity, preservation, and collector demand ensures that its value continues to rise, making it a centerpiece for anyone serious about coin collecting. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of this coin is its psychological impact. It challenges assumptions about what constitutes rarity and value. It forces collectors and casual observers alike to reconsider the coins they see every day. What seemed mundane becomes extraordinary. What was overlooked becomes a prize. The 1984 D nickel teaches patience, attention, and the importance of knowledge in uncovering hidden treasures. And that lesson resonates far beyond numismatics. It applies to life itself. The idea that careful observation, persistence, and curiosity can reveal value in places most people ignore. It is a reminder that sometimes what we overlook may hold the greatest rewards. In the end, the 1984 D. Jefferson Nickel is more than a coin. It is a story of survival, rarity, and discovery. It is a tangible link to 1984, a bridge between past and present, and a symbol of the extraordinary hiding within the ordinary. For collectors who understand its significance, it offers a chance to connect with history, experience nostalgia, and potentially reap substantial financial reward. And that financial reward is not hypothetical. A well-preserved 1984 D. Jefferson Nickel can fetch upwards of $86,000 in today's market. It is a staggering number for a coin that began as simple 5-cent currency, yet it reflects the profound intersection of scarcity, preservation, and demand. If the 1984 D. Nickel is a story of modern rarity, the 1970 D. Jefferson Nickel is a saga of sheer survival against odds that seem almost impossible. Unlike its younger counterparts, the 1970 D has now passed the half-century mark, yet it still retains the ability to shock even the most experienced collectors. Its origin is deceptively ordinary, struck at the Denver Mint, part of a large production run, intended for everyday use. But time has transformed it. Through wear, circulation, and the capricious hand of fate, only a select few remain in pristine condition, making this coin one of the most coveted in the modern numismatic world. The year 1970 was unremarkable to the average person. The nation was experiencing turbulence and change, social shifts, economic adjustments, and the ongoing echoes of the Vietnam War. Yet, in the quiet of the Denver Mint, a small piece of history was being produced. Jefferson Nickels, ordinary in function, extraordinary in potential. At the time, no one suspected that decades later, these simple 5-cent coins would become symbols of rarity, desire, and extraordinary value. What makes the 1970 D. Jefferson Nickel so remarkable is its survival rate in high-grade condition. The vast majority of these coins entered circulation immediately, subjected to the constant friction of wallets, pockets, and coin-operated machines. Millions were exchanged countless times, their surfaces dulled, their edges nicked, and their luster lost. Yet, a tiny fraction survived untouched, seemingly impervious to the relentless passage of time. To collectors, these surviving specimens are almost mythical, rare glimpses of perfection preserved against all odds. Collectors are drawn to the 1970 D. Nickel for many reasons, but primarily because it represents a convergence of rarity, history, and perfection. Every detail of the coin, the sharpness of Jefferson's profile, the clarity of Monticello on the reverse, the evenness of the strike, the unblemished surfaces carries meaning. It is a snapshot of meticulous minting preserved for 50-plus years, and it is this preservation that commands attention. When a 1970 D. Jefferson Nickel in exceptional condition enters the market, the response is electric. Unlike older coins, where centuries of rarity justify astronomical values, or newer coins, where scarcity is a recent phenomenon, the 1970 D occupies a unique position. It is old enough to have survived decades of handling, yet modern enough to remain identifiable, familiar, and tangible to collectors. This balance creates an intense psychological pull. There is also the element of disbelief. Many casual observers cannot fathom that a nickel from 1970 could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. The coin feels modern, common, even mundane. That familiarity masks its true rarity. It is exactly this contrast between appearance and reality that makes discovering a high-grade specimen such an emotionally charged experience. Collectors do not merely acquire a coin, they uncover a hidden treasure, a secret that the world has mostly overlooked. The 1970 D. Jefferson Nickel also embodies the thrill of timing. Every year that passes, the number of well-preserved examples declines. Each lost coin increases the relative rarity of those that remain. For collectors, that creates urgency. Searching for such coins is not just a hobby, it is a race against time. Every coin roll inspected, every jar of old nickels examined, is an opportunity. The stakes are high, and the rewards, when successful, are life-changing. Holding a 1970 D. Jefferson Nickel in top condition is more than a financial experience. It is deeply emotional. It connects the collector to a moment in American history, a physical piece of the 1970s that has endured when millions of others have not. It evokes nostalgia, even for those who did not experience the era directly. The coin's tactile presence, the weight in the hand, the cool metal against the fingertips, the gleam of untouched surfaces, transports collectors to another time. It is a sensory experience, almost meditative, that few modern objects can replicate. The coin's artistry also contributes to its allure. Jefferson's portrait is serene and detailed, Monticello crisp and architectural, the lettering precise, the edges smooth. In high-grade examples, the coin maintains its original luster, making every detail pop with clarity. This visual perfection is part of the reason collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums for well-preserved specimens. The coin becomes more than currency. It is a miniature masterpiece, frozen in time. Market dynamics further elevate the 1970 Jefferson Nickel. Its scarcity in uncirculated condition makes it a target for serious collectors and investors alike. The interplay between limited supply and growing demand fuels competition, pushing values to impressive heights. Auctions featuring high-grade specimens are tense, intense affairs, where seasoned collectors recognize that every bid could be the difference between acquiring a treasure and missing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It is this combination of rarity, historical significance, aesthetic perfection, and psychological thrill that makes the 1970 Jefferson Nickel so extraordinary. Unlike coins that derive value solely from age, metal content, or novelty, this nickel's worth is multidimensional. It is a fusion of survival, artistry, and human fascination with scarcity. And it is precisely that fusion that has propelled its value into the six-figure range. For many collectors, acquiring a 1970 Jefferson Nickel is a career-defining achievement. It validates years of study, patience, and persistence. The discovery of such a coin is not simply transactional. It is a triumph of knowledge and dedication over randomness. It represents the culmination of countless hours spent researching, rolling, examining, and preserving. For those who succeed, the reward is profound. A coin that is not only valuable in dollars but invaluable as a piece of history. And yet, despite all this, the 1970 Jefferson Nickel retains an almost understated presence. It does not shine like gold or glitter like silver. Its appeal is subtle, understated, and deeply compelling. This subtlety is part of its power. It reminds collectors and casual observers alike that true value often hides behind ordinary appearances. The greatest treasures are not always immediately obvious. They are revealed to those who look closely, patiently, and with knowledge. This coin also serves as a lesson in perspective. In a world that often prizes the flashy, the obvious, and the immediate, the 1970 Jefferson Nickel rewards those willing to pay attention to details, to honor history, and to embrace the thrill of discovery. It embodies patience, discernment, and respect for craft. In every sense, it is a coin that teaches as much as it captivates. Collectors who acquire these coins often speak of a profound sense of connection. Holding a 1970 Jefferson Nickel is not just about possession. It is about participation in a continuum of history. It is about understanding that every coin carries stories beyond its face value. The scratches it avoided, the wallets it passed through, the hands that held it, all contribute to its narrative. Each coin is a silent witness to decades of life, a small yet significant artifact of the past. And finally, there is the financial reality. A 1970 Jefferson Nickel in exceptional condition is not merely a collector's trophy. It is an investment of staggering significance. In today's market, such a coin can command a value of $167,000. That figure is astonishing for a coin that began as a simple 5-cent piece. Yet it reflects the convergence of rarity, preservation, historical resonance, and collector demand. It demonstrates that true value is often hidden in plain sight, waiting for those with the vision and knowledge to recognize it. The story of the 1970 Jefferson Nickel, like the 1984 and 1990 before it, is ultimately about discovery, patience, and the unexpected treasures hiding in the ordinary. Across decades, these coins have quietly persisted, surviving against the odds. They challenge assumptions about what is valuable, what is rare, and what is worth attention. They remind collectors and observers alike that opportunity often resides in overlooked places, waiting for the curious, the diligent, and the patient. Every nickel tells a story, but few tell a story as compelling as the 1970 Jefferson Nickel. Its journey from a mundane Denver mint production to a $167,000 collector's gem embodies the magic of numismatics, ordinary objects transformed by time, circumstance, and human fascination into extraordinary treasures. It is a reminder that history is not only recorded in books or monuments but also in the small, seemingly insignificant objects that survive long enough to capture our imagination. And so, for collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike, the 1970 Jefferson Nickel stands as both a challenge and an invitation. It challenges assumptions about value, rarity, and attention to detail. It invites curiosity, patience, and a willingness to look beyond the obvious. It offers a chance to connect with history, to experience nostalgia, and, for the fortunate few, to secure a life-changing Treasure Point 1990 Jefferson Nickel value. $74, 0001984 Jefferson Nickel value. $86, 0001970 Jefferson Nickel value. $167,000 each coin, though small, represents a universe of history, survival, and potential proof that sometimes the most unassuming objects carry the greatest power.